G'day there guys, welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole? Let's go. Am I the arsehole for not wanting my wife to take part in designing the basement? So I, 26 male, just got married to my wife, 25 female, back in September. My wife and I have been saving and investing throughout high school and college, so we were able to close on a really nice house. The house is 2,800 square feet and comes with 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a finished basement, a black patio with a hot tub, and a kitchenette. We bought this house as we're hoping to raise a family in this house. So we have 2 living areas, the basement living area and the main floor living room. I figured my wife would want to take priority over the main floor, so I said that she could design the main floor living room the way she would like, as well as the master bedroom, but I want to design the basement living area the way that I want. My wife asked why can't she help with the basement, so I told her that I wanted to turn the space into a man cave, so whenever I invite friends over, we would have a place to hang out. My wife was angry when I mentioned what the space would be used for, and she said that she did not want the space to be turned into a man cave, and that we both had to agree on how the basement living area would be designed and what it would be used for. I was a little irritated after hearing this, and so I told my wife that I'm letting her design the living area and the master bedroom 100% the way that she wants, and that I just wanted the basement living area to be completely the way that I want. I also added that since we currently have no children and are not expecting one at the moment, that she could use any of the bedrooms for something extra. After I said that, my wife started guilt-tripping me, saying that she was offended that I was excluding her and how this is not just my house, but how it's our house. I haven't started anything yet in terms of designing the basement living area, but I really want a space in the house that's kind of my own and is designed the way that I want. I have tried explaining this to my wife, but she keeps saying that I'm being selfish, so I wanted to know if I really am being an arsehole here. Now in the comments, you're the arsehole. It's not a question of who designs which area, it's the fact that you are saying she can design 2 areas, which will be for both of you, and you will take the one entire section of this house as your own. This is something that should have been discussed before you bought her home. And you know she'd have to worry about whether he liked what she did with the living room and their bedroom while he checked out of the process of designing their shared space. It's kind of like letting someone cook you dinner. Hey honey, I'm graciously letting you cook dinner for the both of us, and in return, I'm going to eat all of the dessert myself. Sound good? It would be more accurate like this. I'm going to choose what I'll make for dessert and then eat it by myself. Why are you complaining? I let you decide what to make us for appetizers and entrees. You're the arsehole. How generous of you to let her decorate shared living spaces for you and your future children to enjoy, while you get an entire basement for you and your buddies to party in. You cannot seriously believe that's fair. The fair thing would be to make the basement an entertainment room that you both design. You don't need a man cave. Consider your wife. You're the arsehole. You are going to use the main living area and the master bedroom even if you let her design them, but you think it's fair that you get to have the whole basement as your man cave. Edit, adding that man caves are toxic. Yes, a man cave is toxic. I don't mind if there's a gaming room for him and then a sewing and painting room for me, but let's be honest. It's likely that guests will use both at some point. Fact is, I've had guests rip their pants mid-dance, in a dance game, and had to hide them in the sewing room until I fixed it, and I love to watch games and play something once in a while. Either a space to hang out or observe, I don't know, depends, but regardless, I don't care if someone pays for everything, unless you are a secret agent and save the world, I am coming into whichever room in the house when I want, bar the bathrooms while in use, because it is ours. And now back up to the post, there are 3 edits. Edit. Many people have suggested that I take one of the empty bedrooms and use that as a man cave rather than the whole basement living area. I think this is actually a good idea, and I'll bring this up to my wife and see what she thinks. I will also ask what she was planning on using the basement living area for. Edit 2. So far it looks like almost everyone agrees that I'm an arsehole. I can see why I was wrong here, and I was definitely excluding my wife here. I plan on apologizing to my wife as well as asking her what she would like to do. And edit 3. Okay, so this post blew up overnight, so I'll give everyone a quick update. I apologized to my wife for excluding her and getting ahead of myself. I also talked to my wife and asked what she wanted to do with the house. She said that she's fine with me taking the basement bedrooms to be used as a man cave, while she will use the upstairs bedrooms for her own space. The basement living area will be used as a home theater, and my wife also said she would like for me to be involved in the designing of the rest of the house. Living room, master bedroom, kitchen, laundry room, etc. I really do see now why my original plan was just not a good idea. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for asking my sister to contribute half the expenses of maintaining my mum's house?" My mother only has one asset, her house. She doesn't have enough savings to bankroll her retirement. My wife and I pay for it. My wife is a doctor, so she makes great money, and we can afford taking care of her. We've been sending her about $2,000 a month for 5 years now. We also take care of any incidental and emergency expenses. We also have all major house repairs, and I have never asked for my sister to contribute, as she is not as well off as we are. My mum wanted to get her finances in order, and she asked me to help. She talked about wanting to get her will written. She said she wanted to give the house to my sister. She has no other asset of note, and it would mean that my sister gets almost 90% of her assets. I have always known that my mum would skew the inheritance more towards her, and I didn't mind that. I thought I could help my sister. My sister needs it more, and we are already doing so well. I am really upset by this. I know it's greedy to be focused on the house, but it makes me feel horrible. I am the one who is always with her when she is sick, and she practically cuts me off the will. My sister isn't struggling herself. She is comfortably middle class. If she was really struggling, I would have understood it. This was about a month ago. The house needs some repairs again, and my mum asked me to pay for it. I called my sister and told her that I want her to contribute for half the expenses. I know it is petty, but I don't get why I should pay for a house which I will never get. She talked to mum, and she's upset with me for asking my sister for money, and she thinks that it's very petty and greedy of me for asking for money from someone who doesn't make as much as we do when we could afford it. I do feel like an asshole. I can understand why she is doing it, and if I think about it rationally, I can see why she would want to give the house to my sister, but I still feel horrible about it. She also feels that I'm being a horrible sister by forcing her to pay for stuff and just dropping it on her head. So am I the asshole? And now in the comments, not the asshole. Let your sister repair the house that she's going to get. You've paid enough already, she can take over. I'd even go so far as to issue an ultimatum. The house is split evenly, or you stop your allowance since you get no gratitude for your family's sacrifice. You and your wife have given $120,000 over the past 5 years. Your sister should be the one paying for everything for the maintenance of a property that she's going to get, not the asshole. More. $120K in addition to the cost of all the work and repairs for those 5 years. How much is the house even worth? And how old is their mother? How many more years will OP be expected to shell out $20K per year, in addition to all the other time spent helping with all other things, like doctor's visits? Not to mention all of the extra incidental and emergency costs OP and his wife pay for. I mean, damn. OP is even the one who helped and took her to get her finances, will, in order? If they hired a professional, did OP pay those costs as well? I don't know what I would do under these circumstances in OP's position moving forward. What I do know is not the asshole. I'm amazed that OP's wife is okay with shelling out all that money. Doctor making lots of money or not, that has got to get annoying after a while. And you're right, all the work in house repairs plus ongoing money given monthly, this is not an insubstantial amount of money, and it's not like the sister is not doing well too. Makes me wonder if OP's mum actually likes her. Supremely unfair not to split the estate equally at least. You've been very generous taking care of your mother and helping her keep her house, but maybe it's time for your mother to sell her house and downsize to something that she can afford, or just afford with less financial support from you. Since it sounds unlikely you will get any sort of inheritance, you also should be saving for you and your spouse's retirement to make sure you are both comfortable later in life. Not the asshole. And not using your wife as an ATM to fund your ungrateful mom. You're the asshole for that. Curious if the wife has been informed about the will situation and her thoughts now. Wife needs to put a stop to this ASAP. Just the monthly $2K per month for 5 years, $120,000 of her earnings plus the incidentals have been funneled to this woman. It's one thing if it was OP's money, but he is totally using and taking advantage of his wife. He sounds like a master manipulator, and he learned this from his mom. And OP responds, "My wife doesn't care that we are supporting my mother. She has talked about giving more money a lot, but I have shot it down. You are reaching a lot in your comment, but considering that you're an anti-vaxxer, I understand that you're used to talking out of your ass." Also, her wife, not his wife. And now on to the update. So, I was feeling a massive amount of guilt for my actions, but most commenters supported me. I talked to my mother about how much money we have spent on her and how much more we were planning to spend on her. She didn't budge at all. I was incredibly frustrated, and we ended up having a yelling match. She said she wanted her money to go to her real grandchildren and not to our children who were adopted. It broke my heart. My children adore their grandma. They think the world of her. I have never noticed any favoritism in her behavior either. She has always doted on them. I don't know where this is coming from. She then explained that the house was my father's hard-earned money, and she couldn't really give that money to people she didn't approve of. She told me he would have wanted this money to go to my sister and her biological children, not to children who didn't even look like him. I don't understand how she could pretend to love my children for a decade. I was fooled by it. Everybody was fooled by it. I can't even process it. We have stopped funding her retirement. She will have to sell the house. I talked to my sister, and she cried when I told her what my mother had told me. She said she would handle buying our mother a new home. I haven't visited her in a month, and I'm not planning to visit for a long time. Edit to add, thank you for the kind comments. Yes, my wife did say it could be dementia. My sister is planning on getting her a wellness check soon. I'm trying not to think about it. Now in the comments, I'm so sorry that your mother has turned into this person that you no longer recognize, but your children are so incredibly lucky to have a parent that puts them above this kind of crap. I can't help wondering though, did OP's mum turn into this person? I understand the point that other replies to your comment are making about a possible personality change, but part of me feels like this was how she always was. She just kept it hidden so OP would bankroll everything, which would tie into why she never looked at OP's sister to help out. She doesn't want to take money away from real family. At OP, I'm sorry that you've been through this. At least it sounds like your sister is a better person than your mom, and you still have some decent family left. If a parent called my adopted kids not their real grandkids, they'd never see another penny from me. For real, and they would never see me or the kids again either. I'm the only mixed kid in my family, and my gran would have never said anything about it. When my gramps died, she started parceling out jewelry to all the kids and grandkids. I was very aware that I might not get something since I was a step-grandkid, but she gifted me with the most beautiful set of rings. I always will love her for that. To say your grandkids aren't yours because they're adopted or step is insane to me. My fiancé has 4 grown boys. His youngest is having a baby soon. I'm beyond excited. Will I be a grandma at 36? Yes. Is that insane? Yes. And he and his partner asking me what I want to be called? Yes. I would never. Yes, I didn't raise his kids, but I'm here now. They call me Mama Lo. They know that I'll be their kid's extra grandma. Your mum sucks, period. Not the asshole. Her selling the house is for the best. I thought maybe it wasn't worth much, but since reading through your comments, I saw it's worth between 1 and 1.5 million. She could definitely buy a smaller place and live off the proceeds of the sale. Most seniors tend to downsize for just that reason. You shouldn't have to subsidize her retirement when she is capable of doing it herself. You also shouldn't be paying to fix a house that you have no equity in. Sorry you had to find out such a shocking revelation by your mom. Just an aside, but has your mother had any health issues lately? If what she said about your children is so out of character, maybe her faculties are declining. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my mum that I can't and won't help her rebuild a relationship with her son?" I, 35 female, was raised in a family that honestly is pretty messed up. Reputation and wealth always come first for everyone, and well, perfection is the only answer. I'm not even joking. I have a brother, Oliver 19. Everyone adored him, and he was definitely favored growing up, but he's been through some crap that caused him to act out a lot. My mum had enough of his behavior and kicked him out when he was 16. He's been staying with me for the past 3-ish years. While living with me, he managed to get his act together as I put him in therapy to help him, and I kind of realized that the whole perfection thing my family drilled into our brains is kind of what was causing him to deteriorate so much. He goes to a good university, is in a sports team, and even has a part-time job. His mental health is still a work in progress, and he does have bad days, but we're working on it. I'm proud of him in all honesty. Anyways, my parents were aware that Oliver was with me, but only contacted him a couple of times in the past years. I would say I get it because of how stressful it's been, but I don't. That's your son, for F's sake. Well, a few months ago, my parents decided to divorce, which, hey, good for them. Should have happened years ago, but whatever. Ever since, my mum has been trying to convince me to let her talk to and hang out with Oliver. This extreme switch-up isn't good for him, as he relies on stability a lot, and I told this to her. She started crying when I did, and said that she is his mother. I kind of rolled my eyes and said something like, "What a great mum," sarcastically, and she cried even harder. She said she was sorry for kicking him out, but she just didn't know how to deal with a problem child anymore. It wasn't her fault, etc. I didn't think she was really getting my point, as I'm more annoyed by the whole perfection bullcrap that she never shut up about. Even I have problems with that. But I let her rant. Then I told her straight up that I wouldn't and couldn't help her with Oliver until he said he was ready. Even then, I don't know if I'd encourage him, and that she needs to live with her decisions. She practically called me an asshole and said that she was his mum. Not me, but I just ignored her. It's been a while now and I haven't heard from her and I feel a little guilty. What right do I have to keep a mum away from her precious son is kind of what's been going on in my head. It's what she said as well. Am I the asshole? Now in the comments, not the asshole. Let me repeat, not the asshole. You're an amazing sister. Don't let guilt sway you from the incredibly caring path that you're on. Not the asshole, this right here. Your primary concern should be with your brother's mental health and his well-being. Your mother is a grown woman. She can deal with her own guilt and her therapy if she chooses to. I agree. Why the hell didn't his parents get him into therapy? Why the hell did they think that throwing out a minor was a good idea? I'm honestly stunned by the choices that the parents made. I think OP needs to keep Oliver safe, and I don't think Crazy Mother is a good influence. Quote, why didn't his parents get him into therapy? Because therapy is for crazy people, and crazy people are not perfect. Source, my father. I recognize him in what OP is telling here. Not the asshole. She kicked him out when he was a minor. What in the hell? And it's very likely that, even if she has good intentions, she will take out the current crisis she is going through in her life on her son and/or use him as an emotional support pillar when he is still trying to rebuild his mental health. Also, can she not contact him herself? Why is she putting you in the middle? Oof, that last part. Toxic parents have no communication skills. It's always, tell your sister your father said that. Nonsense. Eye roll. Not the asshole. You keep protecting Oliver. She is not sorry if she can't even admit what she did wrong and is still calling him a problem child. She is getting a divorce and not looking to rebuild a bond. She is looking to displace her emotions and for something to cling on to. She needs to take time to herself and go get counseling, and honestly, if y'all let her back in, her first visits with him need to be in a family counseling office with a therapist who will tell her what's what and not let her run him over. Not the asshole, as long as you are not blocking communication. She should be able to contact him through email at least, and he can decide if he wants to respond. He's 19, so not a kid, even though he's still young. You can let him know that you'll support him if he wants to ignore and block her or start talking to her again, but other than that, it is not your place to determine if they have contact with one another. That should be up to him. And now, on to the update. Okay, so I'm just going to get right into it. After all of your reassurances that I was doing the right thing, which I was really doubting, I called my mother and told her that my decision is final and she is not allowed to contact my brother until and unless he or his therapist is okay with it. She cried her heart out, and it almost made me sad, but I can't bring myself to feel bad for her anymore. I'm just so tired of her. She messages me twice a day still, but I haven't replied to a single text. I would tell her to F off, but I'm dealing with unrelated family issues, so I can't do that right now. As for Oliver, the last week has been a bit of a struggle. Nothing super related to my mother, but that's the thing with mental health. Even the slightest thing can be a trigger. But we are working on it. Like I said in my last post, stability is the main thing that's helping him. It's why having our mum visit would be a very bad idea. She'd turn his world upside down very quickly and throw him off our schedule. Due to circumstances, he's still in the early stages of recovery and is still not mentally/emotionally ready to meet our mum, who is a huge trigger. I don't think I mentioned my daughter, but she's currently watching Frozen while I'm writing this, and the only thing on my mind is, do you want to build a snowman? So I'm sorry if I'm not wording this properly. But yeah, I know for many the answer may have seemed obvious, but sometimes I feel as if I'm overstepping because although I love my brother, I am not his mum. Might as well be, but that is a whole other thing. One more final thing that I wanted to add, why am I making decisions for him? He's an adult, right? Yes, technically. But because of his mental health problems, he does not have the same grown mindset as others his age. It's one of the reasons that he's in therapy. Anyways, to the people DMing me for an update, nothing much happened, but I assure you, Oliver is my top priority right now. Thank you for worrying about him though. And now in the comments, sometimes with trauma, your mental age can stall, you regress and act younger. You are a good sibling. OP says, I'm seeing that a lot with Oliver, which according to his therapist, makes sense considering what he's been through. Also, thank you. I am really trying hard to be a good presence in his life. Severe trauma always stops parts of you at that age, even as the rest of you grows up. There are always parts that are still stuck in the trauma, and without therapy, it just stays that way. That is why PTSD is what it is. You are living your trauma in some sense all the time, and sometimes it gets triggered actively into the present. Just read the original. She lost her right to be his mother when she chose kicking him out because I didn't know how to handle a problem child, over actively trying to figure out what she can do to help. You may not be his mum, but at least you took responsibility and didn't give up on him. OP says, agreed. I don't understand how a mother can just abandon their child when things get tough. Extremely specific reasons aside, I just do not get it. Especially since I have a child of my own now. I don't think I can ever forgive her for it. She didn't even tell me that she kicked him out. Thank God I showed up for a visit only a few days after. My husband and I were freaking out, trying to figure out where he had gone, and she just shrugged and told us not to bother, that he'll straighten himself out on his own. Just thinking back to those days makes me angry. I could rant forever, to be honest. Thank you for your comment, and I'm glad I didn't give up on him either. I'm happy that I gave him a chance to grow and heal because he is doing so much better now. You are doing the right thing, and I hope your mum doesn't come up with the idea to have a surprise visit at your home. Not sure if she knows where you live or not, particularly with your current family issues and Oliver still needing continuous stability and therapy. If she still insists that Oliver is a problem child, she may still treat him like one. Good of you to put up with those boundaries and continuing to protect Oliver. Whatever the issues you and Oliver are dealing with, I hope they pass. Take care, OP. And OP replies, she doesn't know where we live, and we live about an hour away. Thank you for your well wishes. While I know what happened to Oliver will stay with him for his entire life, I have hope that he can get better, that he'll be stronger and happier. He's already in a much better place than he used to be in, and I'm confident that he'll be okay. Obviously, there will be bumps down the road, and this is just one of them. Thank you once again, and take care as well. And that, my dear friends, is where we leave today's episode. I hope you really did enjoy this one. That was quite a story, that one. I personally can't believe the audacity of that woman. I feel like that mother is completely blind to reality. I am so happy for Oliver, and I hope he gets everything that he needs going forward and becomes stronger. And I don't know, I just want Oliver to be happy. I wish the best for him. As always, guys, I hope you have a good time, and if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.